Salutations, respected viewers. This is George from Ireland. I'm in front of the Orde Wingate Memorial in London, in the Embankment Gardens. There you can see it for yourself. So, who was Orde Wingate? Well, he was a British chap who was born into a well-to-do middle-class family. He went to Charterhouse, which is one of the top 10 schools in the United Kingdom. He was a highly eccentric figure. He was often bullied, and he fantasized about being a big game hunter in Africa, things like that. Might have seemed an unusual choice for someone who was a bit odd to join the army, where conformity is really emphasized. But anyway, that's what he did. He was an army officer, and he served for quite a few years. He was just too young for the First World War. But then he left the army. In the 1930s, he was in Palestine, that includes what's now Israel. And even though he was completely a Gentile, he embraced the Zionist cause with zeal. And some British Gentiles didn't like that. Some were anti-Zionists. Some British Jews didn't like it, indeed said, no, we've got to be British first and foremost. We mustn't be suspected of divided loyalties. But anyway, and then he was in Haganah, leading some of the night squads against the Arabs, things like that. So he acquired a taste for unconventional warfare. But come the Second World War, this was to stand him in very good stead. Ethiopia, it was then called Abyssinia, was invaded by Italy in 1935. And then Italy declared war on the United Kingdom in 1940. So the British forces in Sudan, in British Somaliland, in Kenya and so on, they decided they must boot the Italians out of Abyssinia and restore Haile Selassie, the emperor of Abyssinia. So they did that, and Orde Wingate was involved in that campaign. So fighting in very mountainous terrain. There were very steep precipices to climb and ravines that things could fall down, but it was completely suited to his skills. It's more like partisan warfare, and he succeeded there. So a lot of people thought that he wasn't quite our sort. Some of the British Army officers didn't like his beard. He apparently had a habit of bathing his backside in the source of water that others were then expected to eat out of. He didn't display good table manners, anything like that. But I don't think anyone could doubt his mettle, his tenacity, his gallantry. And later he was sent to Burma, so because the Japanese had conquered that British colony, and he was involved in the Chindit expeditions in the latter part of the war, as in sometimes going deep behind enemy lines, fighting the Japanese. And indeed he was killed during that fighting. But he's still held in high regard in Israel. I believe there was a kibbutz named in his honor. Well, that is Orde Wingate, and you can see a quotation there from Churchill, who respected him very highly, thought he could have achieved a great deal more had he lived on. So a very colourful and unusual figure